Всем привет, с вами Антилар, продолжаю Fallout 4 StoryWealth. В прошлой серии я закончил с Far Harbor. Давайте начнем эту серию с разбора инвентаря. Так, начнем с оружия. У меня ничего разбирать не надо. Дальше. Броня. У меня есть Atom Bulwark. Это уникальная вот эта штука. Еще есть Arcadia's Shield, но она так себе. У меня, к сожалению, нет места для этой брони. Просто нет для нее места. Поэтому я ее выкладываю в армор. Она уникальная, но я не могу ее никуда засунуть. Так, Ammunition. 5.56 я оставляю, остальное можно выложить. Но у меня не так много, потому что я делал квесты. Я, честно говоря, даже не знаю, где я это нашел. Так, еда. И напитки. Медикаменты. Я сейчас на 177 версии, я написал Экзе, типа, Экза, какого черта я опять получаю Lily Summoning Pills? Он такой, блин, сорян, чел, я забыл это включить в релиз. Я такой, да типа, блин, как бы включи. Короче, вот 178 версия, в ней эта штука войдет. До этого у меня был патч, который сделан чисто для меня, но когда я обновил модпак, этот патч удалился и установилась та версия, которая была в модпаке. Так, в общей версии еще не зарелизили эту фигню. Здесь что-то есть? Нет, здесь ничего. Кастом. О, я могу это наконец выложить. Так. Books, holotapes, notes. В смысле Wine Turbine Code это квестовый? Вы издеваетесь, что ли? Вот пипец. Мне надо это все будет выбирать руками, получается. Это жопа. Ну ладно. Так. Player. Remove item. 0303. 4D F6. Что? Ой. Так, окей, эту штуку убрали. Идем дальше. 0301 E3FB. Первое. С. Д. Е711 и 1.2. Так, что у меня еще? Safe Room Security Tape. Так, это у нас 032 C52. Так, и Books Holotapes Notes. Здесь должна быть только Encrypted Message Holotape. Она делается для квестов Molecular Level и Underground Undercover. Molecular Level нужно для того, чтобы добраться до института. Я его сделал. Underground Undercover у меня, по-моему, висит. Да, вот он висит. Я не знаю, нужно оно или нет, но пусть пока лежит. Я не думаю, что оно прям сильно мешает. Что ладно, пусть лежит. Так. Да, короче, пока пусть будет. Так. Сейчас я еще раз сохранюсь. Теперь, когда мы уже всю эту фигню сделали, надо поесть, попить. Это что такое? А, Android. Ладно, потом. Окей. И сейчас начнем выполнять The Brotherhood Experience. Listen to Storyteller's Signal.
Put that on a loop until further notice, Edna. Let me know when you have that gizmo recording, Edna. I want this message to be clear. Boost the gain a touch. Attention, all Wastelanders, Vault Dwellers, and Brotherhood operatives. And any other freelance operatives in the Commonwealth looking to earn a generous sum in caps. Come to the Memory Den in Good Neighbor to join the exclusive beta test for what will be the most immersive electronic entertainment experience since Grognak the Barbarian versus the Elder Trolls. My associate, Dr. Amari, assures me the beta test is both exciting and, well, within acceptable safety standards. That's the Memory Den in Good Neighbor. Raiders, chem fiends, and persons with severe cranial mutations need not apply.
Окей.
Put that on a loop.
Так, ну короче, мне надо прийти в Memory Den в Good Neighbor. Сейчас мы туда идем.
Big shitstorm at Bunker Hill, huh? As long as the Institute...
Doc, I think we have our first beta tester. I had hoped you'd be the first one to try this. Me and the Doc have everything set up for you. Amari says this modified lounger will work like any other Memory Den experience. You just lie down, and the machine will bring you into my magnum opus. It's a simulation of someone's memories, rather than being directly pulled from a live brain. It's a little buggy. Like this one glitch where Sergeant Plattner keeps getting pronounced Planter. Dr. Amari suggests it's something to do with the hollow buffers, but between you and me, I think she just spelled it wrong during initial data entries. But you'll be able to move around inside the sim and even interact a bit. Are you ready to begin?
Why this?
Well, I'm not going to live forever, so this could be a way to keep my stories alive after I'm gone.
What kind of memories?
This is a recreation of things that happened before I was born. And I want this to be experienced without my usual narrative flamboyance. Most of my stories turn historical figures into mythic heroes. I make the Vault Dweller and the Chosen One sound like demigods, but they were just flesh and blood people. I have even embellished a bit on the life of Roger Maxson.
Maxson?
He's the founder of the Brotherhood of Steel and a direct ancestor of Arthur Maxson. I may have done a disservice to the people of the Wasteland by overlooking some of the faults of the Brotherhood's founding members. Most of what's in this memory experience is true. Parts are well documented in the Brotherhood Codex. Other parts I gathered from security tapes, personal logs, and medical records. I had to fill in some gaps, but I try not to take any creative liberties with it. And you might run into a few glitches in there. It's not like we had Maxson's brain on hand. Just some DNA on his sidearm and biometrics from his power armor. But I still think this story needs to be told, warts and all, and you should be the first to hear it.
Количество багов, которые он говорит, это все от Экса зависит.
I'm ready.
Just lie down in the memory pod. The doctor will start it up for you. Initiating brainwave migration between the program and the host. Connection established.
Экса очень долго тестил этот мод и хотел, чтобы он был частью коллекции.
Hello, can you hear me? Excellent. The simulation appears to be working, just as Dr. Amari said it would.
The following occurred in the months leading up to the Great War over 200 years ago, when the fear of nuclear annihilation was growing ever more prominent. You'll be witness to the origins of the Brotherhood of Steel and how Captain Roger Maxson, ancestor of Arthur Maxson, came to be its founder and first High Elder.
See if you can find the first event node I've set up for you. Should be just ahead.
Event Node. А, интересно. Всем привет. Для самого лучшего опыта пользователя доктор Амари рекомендует, чтобы вы избегали всех симулированных персонажей, так как их пути могут быть немного темпераментными. Если вы хотите больше узнать внутри сцены, смотрите на светящиеся объекты, на которые вы можете кликнуть. Лучше, если вы просто постоите и послушаете всю вещь, прежде чем будете продолжать. Если что-то пойдет не так, у вас есть кнопка сохранения, как в старых добрых видеоиграх. Просто перезагрузите одну из них, чтобы продолжить. Это не должно дать слишком много урона мозга. С наилучшими пожеланиями, рассказчик и доктор Амари. О, все стало так ярко.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Another batch of prisoners so soon? I could have swore we were at capacity already.
Commie sympathizers, probably. Or worse, deserters.
Why don't you ask them?
Decorum, Sergeant. These prisoners are under our protection. Besides, Alan, you might have gone AWOL too without that tin can to protect you.
Oh, what, this old thing? My Uncle Sam gave it to me. You hear that, comrade? Made in America.
Я могу с ними их активировать.
The men serving under Roger Maxson likely fought alongside him during the resource wars. Needless to say, they would have harbored no love for the communist Chinese or those who sympathize with them.
Прикольно.
Roger Maxson was second in charge of a security team assigned to guard Mariposa. The Codex doesn't explicitly tell us what year Roger was born. We can assume he must have been about 27 years old at the time, given the median age of captains serving in the U.S. Army before the Great War. Many in the Brotherhood of Steel can trace their ancestry back to the military grunts serving at Mariposa. In this, they take great pride.
Lions.
Construction on California's newest military base began in October 2076. Someone high up in Washington must have had a reason for speeding things up, because it was completed no more than a few months later.
Это база Марипозы. Это до войны еще. Ух ты. О. Автосейв выполнился. Чё? А. Окей. Придумали, блин.
Would test subject 119 please step forward? That one.
Your cooperation is requested. Do not be alarmed.
Sergeant Planter,
Captain Maxon, sir.
got a new group of prisoners coming in. Any room?
Yes, sir. Plenty of space for them.
You're at the end of a double shift, right?
Две камеры.
Everyone would rather be at the front gate, and the other guys just don't like playing prison guard, sir.
Who did you relieve last night, Sergeant?
That would be Lieutenant Santangelo, sir.
As you were. And Planter? Radio me when they bring that prisoner back out.
Yes, sir.
Так. Этот исчез, но я могу с некоторыми поговорить. Вот этот вроде как светится, но... Как мне с ним поговорить, я вообще не пойму. Я могу попробовать взломать эту дверь?
These days in the wasteland, law and order is a precious thing, never taken for granted. When in tamer lands like the NCR, the Legion, and the Brotherhood's capital wastes, laws only apply within the major settlements. But before the war, the government enforced the law on every inch of American soil. Some crimes were punished with only a brief stay in a cell like this. But people who were disloyal to their country during a time of war were punished harshly. The lucky ones got to die of old age in prison. Others had more gruesome and immediate fates.
Окей. Как закрыть дверь, я не знаю. Ну ладно. Больше мне не с кем здесь интерактировать. Так что ладно. Так.
And
Whoa.
you were on guard duty last night?
Am I in trouble, sir? Colonel authorized me to take today off to work on the new suit. I thought maybe I could...
You're not in trouble, Lieutenant.
Phew, that's a relief.
Can you tell me if any of the scientists sent any prisoners back up to holding last night?
No, Captain. I don't think that happens anymore.
Ever?
I mean, I've never seen a prisoner come back up the lift. Well, then again, there was this one time the elevator broke and I fixed it in a valiant display of heroism. Other than that, though, no. The underground Einsteins must have a lot of space down there.
Could you do me a favor, Lieutenant?
Captain?
I want you to ask the other guards about the last time they saw a prisoner leave the lower blocks. Could you do that for me?
Yes, sir.
Good. I'll check in with you later.
Угу. То есть она говорит, что никто не поднимается из нижних блоков никогда. И он просил, чтобы она это подтвердила.
These suits were intended for the front lines, where they would go up against Chinese tanks, combat robots, and masses of infantry, using firepower soldiers couldn't carry otherwise. However, they weren't just used in Alaska or China. They were used all over the country for homeland security as well, intimidating prisoners, quelling riots, and pacifying occupied territories, frequently against unarmed civilians.
Это так по-американски. Взять силовую броню против безоружных мирных жителей. Угу.
Look at that! A brand new suit of T-51B armor shipped straight from the factory. The 51s were the best line of pre-war armor. Some say the 60s were, purely because of the armor plating. But these were fundamentally upgraded T-45s. The bean counters in the Pentagon rightly wanted to keep the 10-year-old suits in service, but they inherited all the same problems of suits using last-generation tech.
Так почему это лучше, если были Т-60? Я не понял. Так, куда идти-то, блин? Тут супер темно. Да? Да.
Permission to speak freely, sir.
Denied, Captain. I know what you're gonna ask, and I can't tell you any more than I already have. The less we ask, the less we leak out to the Chinese. Now, do you have any questions I can answer, Roger?
We keep bringing new prisoners onto the base, but the commissary says we aren't using any more food than we did a month ago. By my count, we should have been feeding 100 more mouths for the last month. Should I notify the...
You're clever, Maxon. I'll give you that. You should consider getting into politics, son. America loves a war hero. You know, those patriotic prisoners have volunteered to aid the defense of the United States in exchange for a reduced sentence. Given what's happening around Beijing, I'd say they're the lucky ones.
Colonel, we don't know what's happening below. But don't you think we could all be held responsible if...
Don't make me pull rank, son. If I knew anything, I couldn't tell you. So do ask, but don't investigate. You and the rest of your Alaskan band of brothers have one job. To keep your eyes fixed on that front gate. Lady Liberty wants us at the ready.
Yes, sir.
Не говорит ему, что внизу происходит.
We few. We happy few.
The nature of what they were protecting was a closely guarded secret. But today, we know the truth all too well.
Мы слишком хорошо знаем правду, что они защищали.
The Forced Evolutionary Virus, or FEV, was Mariposa's dark secret. Its effects can still be felt across the wasteland today.
Так
Sir,
вот.
Sergeant Planter is missing.
What?
Private Jensen went to relieve him from guard duty in the holding cells this morning. He wasn't there.
And the prisoners?
Secured. Sergeant Planter must be in the lower blocks, sir. With the scientists.
What? The lower blocks are completely off limits. What makes you think he'd be there?
We have this base locked down tighter than Fort Knox. He's got to be in the only place we don't have eyes.
Calling Dr. Anderson. This is Colonel Spindell. Dr. Anderson, this is Colonel Spindell. Please report. Dr. Von Felden, Dr. Anderson, this is Colonel Spindell. Report.
Sir, allow me to...
Captain, I want this base on lockdown until further notice. No personnel enters or leaves without my direct authorization. Do you understand?
Sir, I...
Dismissed, Captain.
Так, я могу с телеком взаимодействовать.
In the 20th century, people wondered if the news coming from their television could really be trusted. In
Да
the
и в
late
21
21st century,
тоже.
they were certain that the media had become nothing but political propaganda. The news
Да.
wavered between assurances that all was well and reports that communist spies lurked in every shadow.
Ну, это не в конце 21 века, и это и в начале 21 века тоже происходит. Так, мне сюда? Да, мне сюда.
We don't need to pussyfoot around this, Captain.
We did rule out every other possibility.
It's been 4 hours! Look, I get it. Those eggheads in the lower blocks don't like to socialize, but this is fucking ridiculous. We haven't heard a damn thing!
Yeah, but the orders are orders, and the Colonel...
Our brother is missing from what's supposed to be a secured military base! Captain, I don't understand why we aren't going apeshit right now.
The Colonel's acting commander. However, the ultimate authority does lie with Washington. Their standing orders are to keep unauthorized personnel out of the lower blocks, so I suppose you could make the argument that...
Sergeant Allen, quietly gather a few good men and meet me in the holding cells. Corporal Lyons, you go with him.
Yes, sir.
And Allen, bring Uncle Sam's tin can with you.
Yes, sir.
Ха. Что-то затевается.
What's the meaning of this? Get out of here this instant! Remain calm. This is military business. Someone get the Colonel down here immediately. How did you get past the photonic resonance barriers? Who's the commanding officer here?
Captain Roger Maxson. Doctor, I believe one of our men might have stumbled into this part of the base. I'm here to retrieve him for punitive action. Then we'll be on our way.
Our work is classified beyond your pay grade, Captain. You do know you could be court-martialed just for looking at it.
For looking at what, exactly?
That's irrelevant. You're interfering with the security of the homeland, Captain.
Right now, you're interfering with the security of this base, Doctor, which is my responsibility. Now step aside and let us do our jobs.
What the fuck?
Да.
Doctor, where is the sergeant?
You goddamn motherless...
Stand down, soldier. We bring this to the Colonel immediately. Caramillo, go to the holding area and consolidate the surviving prisoners into half the cells. Allen, escort these men to the empty cells.
I can only imagine what was running through the minds of Maxson and his men when they discovered what they had been guarding. Maxson must have thought Anderson and the other scientists had gone rogue. An unauthorized experiment by mad scientists straight out of a horror show.
Forced Evolutionary вирус, который был применен к этому сержанту, который пропал.
I, Roger Maxson, Captain, serial number 072389, have started this log because it doesn't look good for any of us. And I'd like for people to know what really happened here. All hell broke loose when we finally discovered what those scientist bastards were up to. The Colonel has locked himself in his office and seems to be having some sort of breakdown. The men are screaming for blood. They're looking to me for answers, and I'm not sure what to do. Someone has to do something, though, before this place sinks into an anarchistic bloodbath. Every time we get a report from higher up, things get worse here. The war is going in a very bad direction, and this place is about to go into full mutiny with all the chaos that entails. I stopped one of the men from executing a scientist today and demanded that we interrogate them to find out what their orders were.
For the last time, Captain, I know what you saw, but believe me when I say it's not what you think. We could all be brought up on charges of treason if I say more. Does that not bother you? Fine. Let me put it to you this way, Captain. We're working to save the human species. That green goo, as you call it, allows us to seize control of our fate. We can control evolution, direct it to save ourselves in this war. Imagine a world without fear of biological weapons. An American race whose potential is not hampered by flaws, but enhanced by them.
If that's true, then why not have a taste of your own medicine, Doctor? Maybe you'll be enhanced.
No, don't open that.
Why not? It's a cure. If it works, I'll make a toast to your good health and take a shot myself.
It's been unpredictable. We need to eliminate variables until we understand the effects better. Any one of the Test subjects could be the key. We'll understand more after we...
After trial and error. With a couple hundred human lives. American lives.
These test subjects. They're suspected fifth columnists. Deserters. Conscientious objectors. Surely you, of all people, can see the debt they owe to men like you. Men who served.
Sure. No sense in letting them serve their time peacefully when they can act as empty chambers in your game of genetic Russian roulette. Who knew about this?
The entire research team, of course. I didn't deceive any.
My men. Who knew?
None of them, of course. We had strict protocols to prevent...
Our superiors. Which of them knew?
This project goes straight up to Washington. The president! I was following orders, just like you. I'm a soldier in a sense. A military man. Liar! If I die, you and your men will be... Please stop! Those eggheads got high on their own power and went...
Да прекратите, я еще не там!
You know it. Everyone on this goddamn base knows it. And they've made us complicit.
If I may, I heard everything, Captain. Anderson was scared for his life. I believe what he said. As crazy as it sounds.
Captain Maxon.
Report.
Sir, we have a situation on level 3.
On my way.
Меня дико бесит, что они говорят, пока я еще не
FEV
там.
really did have its roots in a cure. The Pan-Immunity Virion Project was intended to alter Americans at the genetic level so that they would become immune to enemy biological warfare. But eventually, the project became an attempt at playing God, remaking man at a genetic level. The vats at Mariposa were supposed to turn soldiers into superhuman killing machines. The scientists never managed to perfect the process, but the master did. Russian roulette. At least a person has a 5 in 6 chance of surviving that. Taking a sip of FEV, well, that's like playing Russian roulette with a bolt-action pipe gun.
Да уж. Bolt Action Pipe Gun. Так, куда мне? Куда мне? А.
How about we toss you into that goo and watch you squirm? Our orders come from Washington. Bullshit. We have to put him down or else the brass would think we're in on it. He's right. Put him down! You're all blind. You think you'll win this war with your guns, but Washington knows it'll only be won with science. We are...
I was only following orders, the excuse used by scientists for their experiments, the solace of Mariposa guards. It was the only thing they could use to defend themselves in the court of their own conscience. No other court would prosecute them.
I tell myself it was to keep him from causing a full mutiny among the men. But I'm not so sure. I tell myself it was to keep him from causing a full mutiny among the men. But I'm not so sure.
Окей. Что должно произойти? Выйти я не могу. А, подожди, он переместился. Что-то пошло не так. Что за дверью? А, они должны говорить с тем челом, который заперся там, но они это не делают. Пробую загрузить самое старое сохранение. А, у меня уже нет самого старого, у меня есть только это. Этого телепортировало. Lions. Давай-ка ты сюда встань. О! Что-то происходит. Давай. Нет? О, я снова здесь. Блин.
I tell myself it was to keep him from causing a full mutiny among the men. But I'm not so sure.
I was only following orders. The excuse used by scientists for their experiments. The solace of Mariposa guards. It was the only thing they could use to defend themselves in the court of their own conscience. No other court would prosecute them.
Окей.
By killing the egghead, I seem to have confirmed my position as leader of the men. They follow me without question now. The interrogations invariably end up being executions. Shellman held out the longest.
No. We want the whole truth. At what point did you and your colleagues go rogue and decide to play mad scientist?
Let me ask you something. Do you think the new plague was a natural occurrence? Countless American civilians died because of that virus. It was Chinese biological warfare.
And how does that differ from the suffering you created with that man-made virus down in the vats?
In that we're saving the many by sacrificing the few. Do you think we relish our work, Captain? Most of my colleagues have been working on a cure for the new plague for 20 years and had nothing to show for it. That's 2 decades of pestilence. Thousands dead because of their failure. Our failure. The Black Death lasted half that time, you know. So, if we can't cure Chinese diseases, then the only recourse is to make ourselves immune to them. That is what the government asked for us to do, and that's what we did. What you call the green goo is our salvation.
No honorable government would sanction this.
You honestly think you're serving an honorable government? There's no honorable government in war, Captain. Our government decided to sacrifice a few deserters to stop a nationwide epidemic. How different is that from ordering a division of fine young men to die? I'm not proud of what I've done, Captain. If given the chance, I would do it again. Not because it's right, but because it's rightfully necessary. Our government is waging a war without precedent. A war for our very existence. They send you boys to fight and die to save our home. Well, they ask us to fight an invisible war, so that you have a home to come back to. If we refuse...
It's as if we killed them ourselves.
Captain.
I'm sorry, Dr. Shellman.
Me too.
The Great War lasted a matter of hours, but it was the culmination of decades of conflict. Before the bombs fell, there were the Sino-American War, lasting 11 long years, the European Civil War, and the wars in the Middle East. The Resource Wars lasted a generation, which witnessed endless conflict using ever more refined weapons, armor, and robots. A generation praying for a place in the vaults, just waiting for the end. A generation that lost hope.
Да, так вот. Так, я здесь разорву серию на две части, потому что уже 40 минут, 42 минуты. В следующей серии продолжу. Всем спасибо, с вами был Антилар, всем пока.